Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have the ability to change, while others just really struggle, or worse, they just fight the idea of change and changing their behavior? We're going to take a look at this question today and talk about the growth mindset. I'm Michael Clark with the Ananias Foundation. So let's dig in. If you want to stop causing harm in your relationships, you're on the right path. This is Journey of Change, a video series to help you become the safe, loving partner you were meant to be. Now, I know of no better place to talk about the growth mindset than sitting out here in the middle of my wife's garden. Let me tell you, there is a lot of growth going on here, and it's just been fun over this season to watch these plants go from seeds to sprouts to young seedlings to fully mature plants that are producing an amazing harvest. And that's such a good metaphor for what can happen in our life when we make that decision to grow, when we open ourselves up to growing. And yet this question comes up: why is it that some of us really resist growth and change while other people seem to embrace it and do it very easily? There's a book that was published a number of years ago called Mindset. It was written by Carol Dweck, and it's really become a classic. Now, in that book, Ms. Dweck compares two different kinds of mindsets. The first she calls a fixed mindset, where a person believes that their intelligence, their abilities, their natural aptitudes are all fixed. They're not changeable. And so we are who we are, and we're stuck with that, whatever personal characteristics we have. In contrast, she talks about the growth mindset. The growth mindset says wherever we are really is just a starting point, and that our mind is really very much like a muscle, in that we can use it and train it, and the more that we do, the stronger it grows and the more capable we become. So let's talk about this idea of a growth mindset and compare it to a fixed mindset, as Ms. Dweck did in her book, Mindset. Now, there's a number of aspects that she brings out, but one of them is how we deal with failure. For those of us who are in the fixed mindset, failure is really sort of a damning pronouncement about who we are. It's permanent. It's a permanent judgment about our value and about our abilities, because failure would indicate that that's just who we are. We're a failure. We're never going to be successful. And as you can imagine, if we take a fixed mindset, we're going to avoid failure at all costs. Now, that might mean that we do one of two things. We might just simply never really stretch ourselves and try anything difficult. That would be unfortunate. The other thing is that we could do everything we can to avoid the illusion that we've actually failed. This can include things like blaming other people or denying, cheating, doing whatever we can to put on the persona that we actually haven't failed, that we're successful. In contrast, people that are in the growth mindset will look at failure as, just one of those bumps along the road, one of those things that is inevitable in life when we try, when we grow. It's not a permanent mark on who we are as a person, on our ability, on our future, on our potential. It's just one of those events that happens on our way to becoming the person that we're capable of becoming. This gives them the ability to stretch themselves and ultimately to persevere through whatever challenges come their way. One of the things that she realized in her research is that people with the growth mindset are ultimately more successful in all areas of life, whether it's their career or academics or in athletics or relationships. because when they run up against those ultimate obstacles, those ultimate failures that we're all going to experience, they power through it. Whereas the person with a fixed mindset has a propensity to either shy away from it or blame someone or avoid responsibility. And ultimately, they end up not growing and not getting better. The author of Mindset also talks about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset as it relates to relationships. So someone who has a fixed mindset is going to look at a relationship as soon as it becomes challenging, as soon as it becomes work. And let's face it, every relationship gets to that point. They see that as an indication that there's something wrong with the relationship, or there's something wrong with this person that they're in a relationship with. Conflict seems like, oh gosh, we must be just mismatched, or if we don't agree or see things eye to eye all the time, we must be mismatched. And ultimately, when that relationship ends, the fixed mindset person will blame the other person for the failure. They'll see them as flawed ultimately, and they may also feel very hurt that they were deceived in this whole relationship. Now, on the other hand, a fixed mindset person, when they run into those challenges in a relationship, they see that as motivation. They see that as an opportunity to sharpen their communication skills or to adjust the approach that they're taking. If that relationship ends for the growth mindset person, they look at it as, what can I learn from this? They don't take the failure of the relationship personally, and they move on. They take the lessons that they got and they try to make their next relationship better. Now, the reality is that we all have deep needs of wanting to feel worthy and wanting to feel lovable. Yet the person who has a fixed mindset will see this as a very different issue than the person with a growth mindset. Fixed mindset people are really looking to their partner to adore them, to put them on a pedestal, to constantly dote on them, giving them gifts, giving them compliments, making their life exciting, because that's validation that in fact they're perfect, that they're wonderful. On the other hand, when the fixed mindset person experiences things like conflict or criticism in their relationship, they'll see that as an affront to their personal value. This is something that needs to be stopped and it needs to be avoided at all cost. Oftentimes that fixed mindset person will lash out at this person who has hurt their personal value. On the other hand, a person with the growth mindset has decoupled criticism or rejection or relationship failure from their personal value. So they're much more able to move on from ultimate relationship failures. It might be worthwhile to just mention where these two different mindsets come from. How can people have such vastly different views of the same circumstances? The reality is that we're all born with a growth mindset. If you think about a young child as they're learning to walk, they first crawl, they pull themselves up, and then they take that first step. Now, oftentimes they fall, they get back up again, they take a couple more steps, they fall again, they get back up again, but eventually they learn, growth mindset, how to walk, and they get better and better at it. Pretty soon they're not only walking, but they're running, they're skipping, they're jumping, maybe even dancing. That didn't happen to be something that I learned to do well, but that's part of the growth mindset. They just get better and better. Unfortunately for a lot of us, what happens also as we grow up is we're introduced to fixed mindset concepts. Now, by this, I mean times when we're rewarded for the ultimate outcome, that we're told that we're a natural at something, or that we're just gifted, or that we're smart, or on the flip side, that we're stupid, or that we really are never going to be successful. And these are statements that are very fixed. They're unchangeable. They don't give us that opportunity to grow. When the outcome becomes the ultimate reward, that puts us in a fixed mindset. In contrast, when we are rewarded for the process, when we're rewarded for the effort we make, when we see our failures and we're told we can learn from them, we can grow from them, we can change from them, that doesn't ultimately have to be our future, then we're encouraged to develop this growth mindset. Now, you know that all of our video blogs and blog posts are really about those of us who are working to change, to stop acts of domestic violence or domestic abuse. And while the author doesn't specifically address that, hopefully you've already seen how we can take very different mindsets and either be resistant to the need to change, or we can embrace that, not take it personally, and see this as motivation to getting better. You know, as I look around here at this garden, fortunately these plants didn't say, I just want to stay a seed, or I'm just a small seedling and that's where I am. I'm just going to stay there. No, they continue to grow and develop into the mature plants that they are. And, we benefit from having this mature fruit that's on these plants because they have grown into ultimately what they're capable of being. If you have realized that you have hurt someone that you love and you're being asked to change, if we take a fixed mindset, we'll blame somebody else for our behavior. We'll make excuses for it. We'll ultimately try to avoid that label, that definition of being flawed or broken or wrong. On the other hand, if we take our circumstances and we take a growth mindset approach to it, we say, okay, this is where I'm starting from. What can I do that will ultimately help me get better, help me to grow, help me to improve? So which mindset do you see yourself in? Are you more in a fixed mindset or in a growth mindset? I hope this discussion about mindset has been helpful to you. I'm Michael Clark with the Ananias Foundation, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining me today. I'm honored to be on this journey of change with you, and I hope I've helped you in some way. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. Also, be sure to hit the like button, share this with others who might find it helpful, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. For more resources, head to our website, ananiasfoundation.org. Until next time, take care and remember, change is possible.